Well, the Philadelphia Phillies playing the New York Mets, and Sid Fernandez on the mound for the Mets with a record of 12-5. He's 2-0 against the Phillies this year. He has an earned run average of 2.98. This is his 34th game and his 31st game start. He's had 5 complete games, one of them a shutout, working 202 1/3 innings, giving up 150 hits, 67 walks, 182 strikeouts, and he is 11-5 lifetime against the Phillies. Lenny Dykstra will lead it off. And the first pitch, a called strike. Dykstra hitting .237 for the year with 7 home runs, 32 runs batted in. With Philadelphia, Dykstra hitting .222 since the trade from the New York Mets with 4 home runs, 19 runs batted in. Sid Fernandez, who is having quite a year, and he misses high with a fastball, so the count 1 ball, 1 strike. Sid in his last 11 decisions has won 8 and lost 3. His last game start, he won 6-1 and gave up only 2 hits, the fewest amount of hits allowed by a Mets pitcher this year. And that pitch for ball 2, 2 balls and 1 strike. Dykstra getting his wish. He wanted to go somewhere where he could play every day against right and left-hand pitching. Right here, a true test as he bats against a tough left-hander in Sid Fernandez. He's 3 for 15 at Shea in a Philadelphia Philly uniform. Lifetime batting average at .279. This is his 5th year in the majors. And the fastball for ball 3, 3 balls, 1 strike. Phillies winning last night by a score of 2-1 on Tommy Herr's 2-run home run. Tommy's 2nd home run of the year, and once again another 1-run loss by the New York Mets. They have had an extremely tough time in 1-run ball games. They have won 22 and lost 30. And a strike call, so the count goes to 3-2.
You just had a look at Nick Leyva, first-year manager for the Phillies. That's baptism under fire, huh?
Boy, what a way to spend a year. Phillies have won 63 and lost 94. He's the youngest manager in the National League. He must have aged a few years this year.
Darrell Knowles, the pitching coach, and Dennis Menke, the hitting instructor.
And strike 3. So Lenny Dykstra striking out for the first out of the ball game.
You saw Len Dykstra. Bob Dernier, the right fielder, batting second. Randy Reddy in left field hitting third. Ricky Jordan, the first baseman, in the cleanup spot, followed by Dickie Thon. Dickie beat the Mets a big ball game with a home run in the 9th inning last week. Charlie Hayes, the third baseman, batting sixth. Darren Dalton behind the plate hitting 7th. Tom Barrett, the brother of Marty Barrett, the second baseman for the Red Sox, batting 8th. And pitcher Jason Grimsley batting 9th.
And Bob Dernier stepping in. Dernier playing in right field in place of Von Hayes, and he takes the first pitch for ball 1. Dernier hitting .176 this year with 1 home run, 13 runs batted in. The home run was an inside the park home run, and the only one he's ever had in his major league career. He's just hit 23 home runs in 9 years. And the fastball fouled back to count 1 ball and 1 strike.
Ralph, we had mentioned in our opening that the magic number for Oakland was 1. It's 2. So we just wanted to correct that. Any combination of Oakland A's wins, of course, and California or Kansas City losses that add up to 2. That's 1-1. Or 2-0 or 0-2.
So it could be over tonight.
Yeah, right.
And the magic number for the Cubs over St. Louis is also 2. Cubs are playing in Montreal. They haven't gotten underway as of yet. The Cardinals are playing in Pittsburgh. It's 1-1 in the bottom of the 2nd inning there.
And in the American League, Toronto at Detroit, no score in the top of the 1st. Try to have those pitching pairings for you, and nice folks at Nissan will keep you updated throughout the ball game. All the scores in both leagues.
And the 1-2 pitch, again a fastball, so they counted 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Mike Flanagan going for Toronto tonight against Frank Tanana. And Dave Johnson against Juan Navarro. The Baltimore Orioles, Dave Johnson, that is, going against Navarro in Milwaukee. The Orioles beat Teddy Higuera last night. Big win for them.
And that pitch way outside, so the count 3-2. The first two batters with full counts. That's quite a story, though. You mentioned that in the opening, Tim, about the Baltimore Orioles. Dead last year, lost their first 21 games last year, and just had a miserable season, and now battling for the pennant.
And not only finishing last year with 107 losses, but losing their first 21 games.
And it's ball 4, so Denier, at one time a threat to steal, is on, and that'll bring up Randy Reddy.
We talked about it on Sunday. The Orioles, if they do finish first, will be the first team since the Louisville Colonels in 1890 that finished last in 1889 and then finished first in 1890. That was when the Louisville Colonels were a member of the American Association, and the American Association was one of actually 3 major leagues that year, we understand. The Players League was the other. National League, the American Association, and the Players League in 1890.
Nobody's around to refute that statement.
I hope it'd do better with that history than the history with Key Largo last week.
Well, you're certainly an authority on Key Largo now. How much mail did you get? You even got a tape of it.
Yeah, sure did. Got a video cassette.
Man, that paid. 2-0 as Sid Fernandez has some problems with his control after walking Bob Denier, falling behind Randy Reddy. Reddy hitting .262 for the year with 7 home runs, 25 RBIs. He started the season with the San Diego Padres. And that pitch in there called strike 2-1. Randy Reddy hitting just about the same for the Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies. As a Philadelphia Philly player, he's hitting .266 with 7 home runs. And that pitch taken for another ball, so it's 3-1 for Sid Fernandez. Sid in his last outing, a 2-hitter, and he struck out 13 and did not walk a batter. And the Expos have renewed Bob Rogers' contract. Actually, his contract extended into the next year.
Sparky Anderson extended through 1992.
Well, that's quite an extension for a guy that finished in last place.
Yeah, just 2 years ago, the Detroit Tigers, winners of the American League East, they won it on the last day of the season.
Toronto just collapsed. The runner going with a pitch, and the ball fouled back out of play, 3-2.
I think when pennant races come up, a lot of people forget that just as recently as 2 years ago, the Toronto Blue Jays were up 4 games in the loss column with 7 games to play, and lost on the last day of the season when Frank Tanana beat them. Larry Herndon's home run, and Detroit won 1-0, and then lost to the Minnesota Twins in the American League Championship Series.
Runner goes, and the ball hit in the air to left field. Going back is Carry-On, and he makes the catch. Denier back to first base, 2 men away. Let's have a defensive alignment of Magadan at first, Jeffries at second, Keith Miller playing shortstop, Johnson at third, Carry-On in left field, Samwell in center, and Thornton is in right. The catcher is Sasser. And this batter is Ricky Jordan. Jordan hitting .287 this year with 12 home runs, 72 runs batted in. And he takes a fastball for a ball. In his rookie year, Jordan last year hit .308 in 69 ball games. And the fastball out of the strike zone. 2 balls, no strikes. Sid having trouble trying to find the strike zone. A lot of good pitchers have that problem in the first inning. Most good pitchers, if you don't get them early, you don't get them at all. Two-0 pitch and hit out to center field. It's a towering fly ball. It'll come down though. And it does. So a walk and one left, and the score at the end of 1/2 inning. Philadelphia 0. The Mets coming up, and here's a word from Nissan. Bottom half of the first inning, and on the mound for Philadelphia, a newcomer to the major leagues, Jason Grimsley. He's 1-2 for the year with a loss to the Mets. Earned run average is 6.28. He's walked 15, struck out 6, given up 15 hits in 14 1/3 innings.
Keith Miller leading it off for the Mets. Lou Thornton in right field. Greg Jeffries, the second baseman, hitting third. Howard Johnson, 3 RBIs away from 100. Juan Samuel, Dave Magadan, Mark Carrion in left. Mackey Sasser and Sid Fernandez.
And the first pitch to Keith Miller is taken for ball 1. Keith hitting .212 in the year with 1 home run, 6 runs batted in. His 1 home run coming off the Cubs at Wrigley Field off Steve Wilson, a left-handed pitcher, and he takes for ball 2, 2-0. He's hit 2 home runs in his major league career. And this year at Tidewater, he hit 1 home run while hitting .266. And the pitch right on the outside corner, 2-1. This ball hit down, and a great play, but he lost the ball. Jordan at first base made a great grab and then lost the ball.
This looks like a Phil Simms scramble. Great play, as you said, Ralph. Watch on the short hop. And now Ricky can't find the handle to the ball. Look at this jump right here, the little balletic move. He drops it there. It looked like a screen pass that had gone awry.
Well, anyway, Miller has a base hit, an infield base hit, obviously, and that brings up Lou Thornton, and he swings through the first pitch for strike 1. Lou has appeared mainly for the Mets as a pinch runner. He's been in 9 ball games. He's been at bat 3 times without a hit, and he scored 3 runs. This one chopped out to the second base side. Barrett fields the ball and tosses off to the shortstop, Dickie Thon, for the out. And Thornton exchanges at first.
Number 9, second baseman Greg Jeffries.
Barrett obviously aware that he's only going to get 1, and he just gets Keith Miller at second base. Tom, the brother of Marty Barrett, second baseman for the Red Sox. I'll tell you, when you start making analogies and comparisons about football players like Phil Simms, I guess the team for whom you broadcast is out of it, right?
There is no contest.
Football season is upon us.
This is that time of year you talk about a lot of other things. First pitch to Greg Jeffries, a called strike. Jeffries finishing the year in great style. Has his average up to .259 now. He's had 11 home runs, 54 runs batted in. He's batted .300 since June 6th. Throw over to first base, and Thornton, who is a good base runner, gets back safely. And Jason Grimsley misses with a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Howard Johnson, the on-deck batter, batting 4th today. Grimsley gave up a home run to Jeffries in the 1 game that he started against the Mets. He also gave up a home run to Howard Johnson. It was Jeffries' 8th home run, and Thornton scrambles back.
Well, the word on Grimsley, as you see Thornton there, the word on Grimsley, he has a major league fastball, but he doesn't have major league equipment in other areas. His breaking ball, he really has a tough time getting it over. And you can see with Dalton right there, when that ball has the pop and it carries the catcher's mitt farther after it makes contact with it, that's a good riding fastball.
Looks a little like Robin Roberts when you look at his profile. Yeah. The 2-1 pitch fouled away. So it's 2-2.
Grimsley's parents were in Montreal to see him pitch his first major league game and saw him win against the Expos, working 5 innings and giving up 1 run.
Longest he has worked in his 3 game starts has been 5 innings. The 2-2 pitch to Jeffries, hit right to the shortstop, Dickie Thon. They go for the force play at second and get it. So now 2 men out. That'll bring up Howard Johnson.
Number 20, Howard Johnson.
Howard with a great year going. Hitting .287 for the year with 35 home runs, 97 runs batted in, and 100 runs scored. Howard also has 40 stolen bases in the first pitch, no pitch, as time was called.
The announcement a little while ago, Sparky Anderson having his contract extended to 1992. Remember the comments of Sparky Anderson about Howard Johnson? Didn't play him in the '84 series. Said he wasn't mature enough. Really some bad implications about him as a major league player. And here he is, 3 RBIs short of 100, 35 home runs, 90 home runs his last 3 years. 90 plus, actually.
Needless to say, he's not always right. He might never be wrong, but he's not always right.
Never in doubt. Well, the point being, managers, whether you're young or old, have to make decisions, and sometimes you're just wrong. Howard Johnson coming to the Mets for Walt Terrell. Terrell, since that time, has gone to the San Diego Padres. Now he's with the Yankees. Howard Johnson has really paid dividends.
You know, tracing the family tree of Howard Johnson, you go back to when the Mets traded Lee Mazzilli to Texas to get Ron Darling and Walt Terrell, and then traded Terrell to get Howard Johnson. That's quite a trade. One of the first trades by Frank Cashin. Of course, Keith Hernandez, another one of those blockbusters, and then the Gary Carter trade. The throw over to first. Jeffries back. Jeffries has been very successful in the stolen bases, 21 out of 27. And the pitch way outside, so they count at 3-0. There you see Frank Viola, another one of the acquisitions and trades by the New York Mets. So far, that one hasn't gone on the board as a real plus factor, but I'd have to say the chances are mighty good. And it's ball 4. Johnson walks on 4 pitches, so the Mets have runners at first and second with 2 men out.
I don't think you can talk about trades paying immediate dividends unless you trade for an older player to help a team down the stretch drive. A guy like Elston Howard, when the Red Sox in 1967 traded for him, and he went over to the Red Sox and did such a good job, and the Red Sox eventually won the thing. Hurricane Hazel in 1957 for the Milwaukee Braves.
Well, what a finish he had.
Oh, hit about 390, and the next year Larry Jackson beamed him in spring training, and he was never the same. There are a lot of stories of trades that paid immediate dividends, but a guy like Viola, Hernandez, Johnson, guys like that, you have to take time and fairness to really judge a trade. Here's another, Juan Samuel. I think it's unfair to judge him on the performance he's had this year. But the difference now, Ralph, is they can demand trades in Juan Samuel because of his long-term contract with the Phillies, can demand a trade at the end of the year.
And he goes after the 2-0 pitch and fouls it off. Getting back to the great days of the Yankees under George Weiss and Casey Stengel, they used to pick up people like Johnny Mize, Enos Slaughter to help them in that last month of the season, and they were outstanding trades, but they were veteran ball players used mainly as pinch hitters. And a check swing foul ball, so the count 2-2. So after throwing 6 straight balls out of the strike zone, Grimsley comes back and gets 2 strikes. Samuel with the Mets hitting .233 in 83 ball games. We mentioned that Lenny Dykstra with the Phillies hitting .222. And he struck out. So Samuel drawing some boos for the strikeout that ends the inning. The Mets threaten but do not score, leaving 2 on base as a result of an infield hit and a walk. And the score at the end of 1, Philadelphia nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Budweiser. Top of the second inning, no score, and the Philadelphia Phillies coming up. And you're watching Mets baseball 89 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Dickie Thon will lead it off. Sid Fernandez, the pitcher, and the first pitch hit foul down the right side for strike 1. Tim was talking about a devastating home run that Dickie Thon hit off the Mets in the 9th inning with 1 man out in Philadelphia. Hit it off with Don Ossie to win a ball game over the Mets 2-1. He had another devastating hit against Tom Browning. Browning was working on a perfect game in the top of the 9th inning, and he doubled to right field to break up the no-hitter and the perfect game. Browning had pitched a perfect game the year before, and no pitcher's ever pitched 2 perfect games in the major leagues. So Thon spoiled that chance. His 14 home runs, the most home runs by a shortstop in the National League, and he hits this one foul the other way. Dickie Thon, you recall, was the shortstop for Houston when he was beaten by Mike Torres early in the season about 5 or 6 years ago. Had impaired vision from that time on, and is now making a pretty good comeback, but not this time as he strikes out. Sid gets his 2nd strikeout. He has struck out the leadoff batter in each of the first 2 innings.
Charlie Hayes.
That brings up Charlie Hayes. Charlie acquired from San Francisco, hitting .255 in the year with 8 home runs, 41 RBIs. And he takes a fastball. No score, top of the second, 1 man out. After 1, Chicago nothing, Montreal nothing. And in the bottom of the 4th inning, Pittsburgh 2, St. Louis 1.
Cardinals trying to stay alive to finish the season in St. Louis with 3 games against the Cubs.
And a ball call, so the count 1 ball and 1 strike.
Great matchup tonight in Montreal. Chicago's Greg Maddux, their best pitcher, is going against Dennis Martinez of the Expos.
Slow curveball for a ball. 2 balls, 1 strike. The Cardinals can't afford to lose another, and the Cubs have to lose 1. The Cardinals are 4 games back in the loss column to the Cubs, and for those 3 games to be a factor, they have to be 3 games back when they play the Cubs the last 3 games of the season. And that's ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. Pretty good crowd on hand. Mets will not draw 3 million this year. They have sold way over 3 million tickets. About 3.6 million. This ball is gone. Deep left field. Back goes Carry On. It is off of the wall, and he catches it. Off of the glove, and he catches it. So Carry-On goes over the top of the fence. It looked like that from here and popped it back in the field and then made the catch.
I think his glove and the ball hit the top of the fence together. We'll see. That's the way I saw it initially. Let's see if the glove. No, he actually went. You're exactly right, Ralph. He went above the fence, and the webbing of the glove. There's that big glove again. The webbing of the glove, like a highlight racket, kind of spanks it back into the playing field, and he catches it barehanded. How about that?
So a circus catch by Mark Carry-On, saving a home run and picking up an out. He brings up Darren Dalton.
That'll make some highlight films.
That'll make every one of them. That might be in the package for the year. Dalton hitting .200 for the year with 8 home runs, 41 runs batted in, and he went 5 for 5 against the Cubs about a week ago. And the breaking ball for ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Well, it was Carry-On who dropped that fly ball in that ball game the Mets lost to Philadelphia a while back.
And admittedly, playing too deep in Sunday's game. Dave Martinez, the ball hit to moderately deep left field, and Carry-On got a bad jump. He was playing too deep. 2 runs scored, and the Mets lost 6-5.
Montreal scoring 5 runs in the top of the 9th to beat the Mets in that ball game. 3-2 the count to Darren Dalton. Dalton 0 for 2 yesterday. .209 lifetime batting average in the major leagues. And he fouls it back out of play. So the count will stay. Well, when you look back on this year, Tim, and think of the devastating losses the Mets have lost. 20 games they've lost this year in the opposing team's last at bat. That's almost unbelievable.
That's why they have a bad road record. Big reason.
And a good fastball. Strike 3. And a 1-2-3 inning for Sid Fernandez with 2 strikeouts. The score at the end of 1.5 innings, the Phillies nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from the good old guys.
Dragnet and Adam 12. All new episodes and all new stars in back-to-back excitement from 8 to 10. Premieres Wednesday, October 4th, only on Channel 9.
Bottom half of the second, no score. And we were talking about the 20 games that the Mets have lost in the opponent's last at bat. Here are some of the other stats.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Last year, the Mets were 20-6 in September. This year, 10-14 so far. 14-20 since Willie Randolph's home run. The 3-run shot that erased a 2-run deficit back on August 20th. Boy, that was a killer game, that one. Look at the road record. 5-23 in 1-run games. If we could see that one more time. Check the road record of the Mets this year. 13 games under 500 with 4 left in Pittsburgh. 1-7 in extra innings on the road. 5-23 in 1-run games.
That points right at the Mets bullpen.
Yep.
1 strike pitch to Dave Magadan taken for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Sometimes the stats don't tell the story, but they tell a pretty clear story, unfortunately, for the Mets.
And Magadan takes again, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Magadan hitting .286 on the year with 4 home runs and 40 runs batted in. Here's another fastball that's hit hard to the first baseman Jordan. He takes the hard ground ball to the bag for the out. 1 away. Another stat for the Mets against the East, and these are the teams that they got to beat. They're really bad on the road. 15 and 26. Mark Carey on the batter. Look at this catch.
Top of the second, a ball hit by Charlie Hayes. Mark jumping up and flipping it back with the web to barehanded. A remarkable catch by Mark Carry-On. Should change his name to Carry Over.
Boy, he really made a play right there. Takes the first pitch for ball one. He's hitting .286 for the year with 6 home runs, 13 runs batted in. He's hit 4 pinch hit home runs for the Mets, and that leads the major leagues. It also ties a Mets record for pinch hit home runs in 1 year. Danny Heap did it a few years back. And it's ball 3.
Cubs just came up with a run in the top of the second and lead Montreal 1-0. Martinez and Maddox in that game. Pittsburgh still leading St. Louis 2-1 in the bottom of the 5th.
3-1 the count on the batter Mark Carry-On. Jason Grimsley, the pitcher for the Phillies, and a very good pitch there. And Carry-On loses the bat, and it goes way down the left field line into the stands. So Carry-On loses the bat. Fortunately, it appears no one got hurt.
Yeah, right.
He goes for a new bat.
Often, if that's the game bat, the player will exchange that bat. But with all the Pantar, it's amazing that a bat comes loose from both hands like that. I mean, he threw that bat about as far as you can throw it. Looked like a hammer toss.
And he fouls a 3-2 pitch back, so the count stays at 3-2 as that ball apparently hit Dalton's mask.
No, that was on the point of the right shoulder. See, the right shoulder's not protected. Boy, does that hurt. The left shoulder's protected. You see the little cutaway of the protector that catchers have to throw with. They have to have that freedom, and there on the left shoulder, it's wider.
And now a base hit. So Carry-On goes for the new bat, and I guess that's why he didn't want the old one back.
The catcher, number 2, Mackey Sasser.
And the Mets have their second hit of the ball game. That'll bring up Mackey Sasser. Carry-On at first base. Sasser hitting .287 for the year with 1 home run, 22 runs batted in. Last year he hit .285 in 60 ball games with 1 home run and 21 batted in. And he hits this ball hard to center field, but Dykstra right back there to make the catch. Carry-On returns to first base, 2 men away. And now the slugger comes up, Sid Fernandez.
Number 50, the pitcher, Sid Fernandez.
Sid Fernandez with 3 hits in his last ball game, 1 of them a home run. He's driven in 6 runs this year, and he's hitting .203 with a total of 13 hits, and he hits it hard but foul.
That is so unusual. He got 3 hits as a batter in St. Louis and only gave up 2. It's really unusual for a pitcher to get more hits in a 9-inning game than he gives up.
A lot of pitchers have to pitch a no-hitter and still would break even. This ball hit deep in the left center field, and it'll be a base hit, extra bases. Ball to the wall. Coming around to score is Carry-On, and Sid Fernandez in with a double and another run batted in.
I mean, he crushes this ball to left center field. RBI number 7 on the year, his 3rd double. That gives him 4 extra base hits. This ball really laced by Randy Reddy in left field, and by the time Reddy gets to it, Carry-On has scored.
So Sid does it again as he continues his strong hitting, and that'll bring up Keith Miller. Miller with an infield base hit his first time up. And the curveball and a good play on it by Dalton. The Philadelphia Philly pitchers have made 90 wild pitches this year. They're one short of the National League record of 91 set by Houston in 1970. And another ball call, so it's 2 balls and no strikes. Grimsley has made just 1 wild pitch in his short tenure in the major leagues, and he misses with a fast. No, he gets a fastball called a strike, and it's 2-1. Three balls, 1 strike. Mets leading 1-0. Sid Fernandez, the runner at second with the RBI. 2 men out. We're in the bottom half of the second. Ball 4. So Miller works out a walk. He joins Fernandez on the bases, and that'll bring up Lou Thornton.
Right fielder, Lou Thornton.
Second walk issued by Grimsley. Thornton grounded into a force play his first time up. Nick Laban, the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies. And one almost gets away there. Dalton, another good play to make the catch, and now he goes out to the mound. He might have been crossed up on that pitch. Grimsley at Reading was 11-8 with an earned run average at 2.98 in 26 game starts. He had 8 complete games and 2 shutouts. Good movement on that pitch, but out of the strike zone. 2 balls, no strikes, and now the pitching coach coming out. Has a record nobody will break. Is that right, Tim?
You know, I said that with appearing 7 games in a 7-game World Series. We said that, but a guy wrote an interesting letter saying that if one of those games if one were rained out in a World Series game, maximum of 7. That played by Dalton.
Wow.
If a World Series game was rained out after 5 innings and the game was tied, then the stats would count. So maybe that was wrong. Maybe he could break the record. Maybe you can appear in more than 7 World Series games if you're a pitcher or a regular.
That was against the Mets in 1973 when he was with Oakland. And the fastball that called strike, so it's 3-1. That would be correct if you did have a game rained out after 5 innings. Or 4.5, whichever the case may be.
And the game were tied, then all the numbers would count. I don't think it's happened often enough in postseason play to really know if the rule's in effect, but to our knowledge it is.
Ground ball to the second baseman, Barrett. He throws over to first base to get Thornton, and that retires the side. The Mets get on the scoreboard on a base hit and a double by Sid Fernandez, with 2 men left on base, and the score at the end of 2, it's the Mets 1 and the Phillies 0. Now here's a word from Budweiser. Top of the 3rd inning, the Mets leading by a score of 1-0. Philadelphia coming up. Sid Fernandez on the mound for the Mets and pitching to Tommy Barrett. Tommy holds a record that many would not want to be involved with. In 8 years in the minors, he's had over 1,000 base hits.
That's the minors, not majors, huh?
1,000 hits in the minors. You got to be around a while in the minor leagues to have 1,000 hits. Someone asked him if he ever set a goal as to when he would give up trying. He says, I've already passed that one.
So an A+ in perseverance. Oh, that's something you really don't see a lot of anymore. It used to be that AA and AAA ball was stocked full of a lot of players who had spent a lot of time in the minors. Tommy Lasorda pitched AAA baseball for 12 years. 126 wins in the International League.
Tough chance for Miller. What a throw. Keith Miller with an unbelievable throw from a very, very tough position.
Tell you, 2 1/3 innings, and we have seen 2 remarkable defensive plays by the Mets. The one by Carry-On, and now this one by Miller. How he got his balance and how he made as strong a throw, I don't know. Great play by Miller.
So Barrett, who needs all the major league hits he can get, robbed a one right there. And now the batter is Jason Grimsley. Grimsley has been up 4 times. He has no hits in his major league career. And a pitch fouled away. There was a player named Arnold Stats. Actually, his nickname was Jigger Stats, who played for the Cubs at one time in the major leagues, maybe some other clubs, but mainly for the Angels in the Pacific Coast League. And he had well over 3,000 hits in the minor leagues. Center fielder, and he could catch it. And a fastball outside. It's 1-2. I grew up watching him catch fly balls in center field out in Los Angeles. He and a catcher named Truck Hanna. What a name for a catcher.
I've heard of Truck Hanna.
How about Jim Oglesby, first baseman?
No, can't say as I've heard of Jim.
He had some time in the major leagues. But as Tim was saying, a lot of those old timers at the end of their career would go, and mainly to the Coast League. It was known as an old man's league, and play out the rest of their career in the minor leagues and make very good money for those days. More than they might make in the majors. And a good curveball there as he throws the curve to the pitcher and gets his 4th strikeout.
Center fielder Lenny Dykstra.
This is the type of game that, obviously it's premature, but a guy like Fernandez, who has flirted with no-hitters all his career, could really get a no-hitter. Phillies are hitless, of course, through 2 2/3, but Sid, the type of guy who goes out there, and I think Sid will pitch a no-hitter before his career is over.
I've said that many times. I think he would be the #1 candidate for a no-hitter for the Mets. There've never been a Mets pitcher that threw a no-hitter. Dykstra takes the curve for ball 1. David Cohn, though, on Sunday, he had enough stuff to pitch a no-hitter that game.
Outstanding stuff, and for him to eventually get a no decision, boy, that was as tough a no decision as the Mets pitchers had all year.
Gave up his first hit that should have been an out as Magadan didn't go for the ball. And the second hit that he gave up was a bleeder. And then he was taken out of the ball game with a 2-hitter going. I think Steve Zabriski has arrived. A couple of his passes, and the count 2-0 on Lenny Dykstra. This is a fastball, 2-1. Dykstra was struck out on a fastball his first time up, went down swinging. He's saying, man, that's a tough pitch. He's got his hands full with this left-hander. Speaking of no-hitters, Tom Seaver threw 5 one-hitters while pitching for the New York Mets. He did pitch a no-hitter for the Cincinnati Reds. And he almost gets creamed by that one. So it's 3-1, and that was a fastball.
Right at Dykstra's coconut, and Lenny out of the way. A little pirouette, down on his knees. He's all right. Well, that was close.
There was no intent there because Sid and Lenny are good friends. Ball just got away. goes after the fastball and fouls it to the right side, so the count will go to 3-2. Ironically, with Sid, in the game that he set the record for the most strikeouts in the major leagues this year, 16, and that was a new Mets record for left-handed pitchers. Seaver had 19 strikeouts in the ball game. He lost the game, losing 3-2 on a home run as Lonnie Smith led off the 9th inning. And the curve, and it's strike 3 called. Dykstra knew it as Sid throws a vicious curveball on the full count pitch to end the inning. 2 strikeouts in the inning, a 1-2-3 inning, and the score at the end of 1 make that 2.5 innings. The Mets won and the Philadelphia Phillies nothing. Now here's a word from the good old guys.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Head for the park and greet the Mets.
You're a Mets fan? You can't be a Mets fan if you don't have Triple Play. 3 collectible video cassettes of the Amazing Mets, created exclusively by Sports Illustrated Video and the Mets. Number 1, an amazing era. Casey Gill and all the rest. The doctor making his rounds. The franchise proves you can go home again. Watch Darryl having a barrel blasting his homers and robbing other players of theirs. Number 2, the lighter side of the Mets. Nobody's perfect, not even Rodney. Number 3, 1989 highlights opening day through the pennant race. Triple Play. You get all 3 collectibles for 3 easy monthly payments of only $19.95 each. To order, just pull out your credit card and call 1-800-292-2771. Triple Play. Use your credit card and get free Sports Illustrated Super Duper Baseball Bloopers.
Bottom half of the 3rd, and Greg Jeffries will lead it off. He takes the first pitch for a called strike. Jeffries grounded into a force play his first time up. Mets leading by a score of 1-0. On the mound, Jason Grimsley, and the off-speed pitch inside for ball, 1-1. Good movement on that fastball as it moves back over the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's got a live fastball. Chin music there, and it's 2-2. Greg has really turned up the throttle the last part of this season as he takes inside again, and the count 3-2. And ball 4. So the leadoff batter, Jeffries, is on. Mets leading by a score of 1-0, and Howard Johnson the batter.
The Nissan National League scoreboard shows the Pittsburgh Pirates ahead of the Cardinals in the bottom of the 6th, 2-1. Chicago 1-0 over Montreal. If Chicago wins and St. Louis loses, it's over in the National League East. Atlanta at Houston, no score. Cincinnati at San Diego. San Francisco at LA later on. San Francisco's magic number is 1.
Howard Johnson walked his first time up on 4 pitches. Don Zimmer would certainly like to not have to play the last 3 games with the St. Louis Cardinals when it meant anything, because it would really strap his pitching.
Yeah, even if they win, that's an excellent point, because even if they win, it might mess up their rotation going into the championship series. You'll win any way you can, or you'll take it any way you can, but you don't want to go down to the last few days because of your pitching rotation.
Well, the Phillies got the Dodgers one year that way because the Dodgers had to use, was it the Phillies?
Yeah, the Phillies against the Astros, actually.
Right.
In 1980, Houston went into Los Angeles. They had to win 1 game. They lost 3 games to the Dodgers the last weekend of the series and had to start Joe Niekro, who had won 21 games that year. They had to start him on Monday. Now, they won the game on Monday, But when the National League Championship Series started on Wednesday, Niekro couldn't start, and instead of starting 2 games in that series, he started 1. And the Astros lost to the Phillies 3 games to 2.
There was a great line that came out of that series when the Dodgers came back to force that game into the day after the season. A little blooper down the right field line. Denier slipped and can't get to it. Going on to third is Greg Jeffries, and Johnson in with a double. So Howard Johnson, who holds the club record for doubles, extends on that record, and the Mets have runners at second and third with no one out.
The record for doubles by a Met player was 37, held by 3 players. And Howard dumps one down the right field line, his 41st double. Jammed with the pitch, but Hojo very, very strong.
He's just one back of Tim Wallach, who leads the National League with 42 doubles, and the Mets now with runners at second and third. Howard Johnson with 311 total bases. That too a new Mets record. He has a Mets record again this year of the most extra base hits by a Mets player. So he's had quite a year. Samwell, the batter, the count 1-0. And now 2 balls and no strikes. Back to that story when they had to play that extra game and they were to open up against the Philadelphia Phillies. Someone said, well, it beats having an off day in Philadelphia. The 2-0 pitch to Samwell. He fouls it back. 2 balls, 1 strike. Don Carmen throwing in the bullpen for Philadelphia. Two and 1. The count to Juan Samwell. Juan struck out his first time up. First baseman and third baseman are in. This ball hit hard up the middle, cut off by Thon. A run will score. The throw to first base in time for the out. But the Mets add on, and they lead it by a score of 2-0 as Greg Jeffries comes in on the out.
Let's take a look at the Nissan American League scoreboard. 8-1. Look at the Red Sox. 8 runs in the first inning. They lead the Yankees 8-1. Toronto 2-0 over the Detroit Tigers. Baltimore at Milwaukee just getting underway. No score. No score. Minnesota at Chicago. Texas at Oakland. Cleveland at Seattle. Kansas City at California later on. Toronto 1 game ahead of the Orioles in the American League East.
Now the batter is Dave Magadan with a runner at third and 1 out, and he takes the first pitch for a called strike. Phillies are playing their infield about halfway. They're not really in at short and second. And a ground ball down to the first baseman, Jordan, to throw to the plate, and it is in time for the out as Johnson is out at home. Good play by the catcher and the first baseman as they pick up the runner trying to score from third and the ground ball to first.
Watch how Darren Dalton, the catcher, keeps his left leg in the line to block Johnson off of home plate. Sidearm throw. See that left leg? That's how you ward off runners. And it's tough to do when you're receiving a throw from the right side of the infield or outfield because you can't see the runner. But a good job by Dalton and a good throw by Ricky Jordan.
So once again, the Mets fail to score a run from third with nobody out or 1 out. One of the things that has really plagued them this year. And now Magadan at first with 2 men out, and the batter is Mark Carrion, who singled and scored his first time up. Carrion with the circus play of the day, robbing Jordan of Charlie Hayes of a home run. Little pop up into shallow right field. Barrett goes back, makes the play, and that retires the side. The Mets get a run on a walk and a 2-base hit by Howard Johnson. The score at the end of 3 innings of play. It's the Mets 2 and the Phillies nothing. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
What could be more exciting than signing with the Mets? The new Mets MasterCard from Manufacturers Hanover Trust. It's got everything you'd expect from MasterCard, plus a powerful lineup of special Mets benefits.
Thanks, Mr. Johnson.
Of course, it's good just about everywhere for just about anything. You know, sometimes I wish I could use this card just to buy me a run. The Mets MasterCard from Manufacturers Hanover. To apply, call 1-800-MHT-METS anytime.
I'm Robert Mitchum. Please join me for the story of the greatest conflict of the 20th century and how it changed the face of the world.
Thursday at 8.
This copyrighted telecast is authorized under television rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our audience. Publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the written consent of the New York Mets, Sterling Doubleday Enterprises, and WWOR-TV is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission for its showing, is also prohibited. And as we go to the top of the fourth, Tim McCarver.
All right, Ralph Bob Dernier leads it off. 2-0 ball game. Mets with 1 run in the second inning, 1 in the third. Dernier walked his first time up. Sid Fernandez has held the Phillies not only scoreless but hitless through the first 3 frames, striking out 5 and walking 1. 2-0 Mets. Strike 1. Tapper left side, easy play for Howard Johnson, and he guns out Dernier. 1 away, and the batter Randy Reddy. Really terrific stories for all of the 5 clubs.
Left fielder, Randy Reddy.
Should say 6 clubs, really, that have a chance to go to the World Series. Cubs, Cardinals. Cardinals with an outside chance. Their magic number is 2. San Francisco Giants, and then in the American League, Toronto, Baltimore, or the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's coming back from last year's drubbing to the Dodgers in 5 games in the World Series. They lost. San Francisco hasn't been in a World Series since 1962, and the San Francisco Giants have never won a World Series. The Cubs haven't been in a World Series since '45. They haven't won since 1908, and never at Wrigley Field. And the Baltimore Orioles, to come from where they would come, we talked about that earlier. So a lot of great stories about all the contending teams in each division. 2 balls and a strike to Randy Reddy. Three and one.
One sad story about that is that California, in strong contention until just about 2 weeks ago, will not have a chance to get to the World Series, and Gene Autry, one of the best liked persons that is in the game of baseball, loses a chance this year.
Popped up left side, tough play. Johnson, now Miller on the mound makes the play. That's 10 in a row now retired by Fernandez. The only base runner, a walk to Dernier in the first.
Right here, Miller runs Howard Johnson off the play. He has a little better angle, but he's still got to worry about the mound. He comes up the hill and makes the play. That mound always a problem, because you're not too sure when you're going to hit it when you haven't got a chance to look at it.
You see that often when outfielders are running into foul territory, and the few parks that remain where they have the mounds for the bullpen, the pitchers warming up, serious injuries result occasionally when you're all of a sudden running along on a flat surface looking up at the ball, and that mound comes out of nowhere. Ricky Jordan hit it hard to center his first at bat. Somwell was there. This one hit to left field and playable. Back is Carry On. A 1-2-3 inning for Fernandez. 11 in a row retired by Sid. He's got a no-hitter through 3.5. He leads 2-0, and we're back after this from Express Mail. 2-0 Met lead here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and the picture in left center field, it's our sharp scoreboard in left center, shows the picture of Mackey Sasser, and he's leading off, and he bunts back to Grimsley. A bad throw at first. Grimsley not only wild 60 feet 6 inches away, he's wild when he throws to first, and an error on Grimsley.
Well, he's given up 3 walks, and now an error charged against him on what should have been a routine play. Ball was not bunted well.
Sid Fernandez.
He comes off the mound, has plenty of time, and throws it away. Jordan, a good play to keep him from going down the line.
Indeed. Fernandez up there, he doubled in the first run, and he's bunting, and it's a beauty. Dalton wanted to let it go foul, but it just hugged the line. Sasser goes to second. Oh, what a beautiful bunt by Fernandez. 1 out, Sasser at second.
Oh, Davey Johnson bunting with his power hitter. That was a perfect bunt for Sid, and he is now 1 for 1. He doubled in the first run of the ball game. He had 3 hits in his last game, one of them a home run.
And he is ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies and Jason Grimsley here in the 4th. Sasser at second. Keith Miller had an infield hit. And a walk, make that, yeah, an infield hit in the first inning. Nice play by Jordan. And Keith takes a strike. One and one to Miller.
Miller once touted as the best minor league talent that the Mets had. As you look at the Cardinals score, it's Pittsburgh 3, the Cardinals 1, top of the 7th inning. The Cardinals really desperately needing that win.
Gets by Dalton, and that's the 91st wild pitch of the year. As Sasser moves to third. Not for Grimsley, for the Philadelphia pitchers.
That'd be a little much, wouldn't it? Right here, a very tough pitch for Dalton to handle. He goes over there, it gets away. And that is a wild pitch that ties the record in the National League for a team in one season.
2 balls and a strike to Miller. The Philadelphia infield in with the Mets on top 2-0. Outside, ball 3, 3-1.
In Detroit, it's the Blue Jays 2, the Tigers nothing, top of the 5th, and in Milwaukee, no score, bottom of the 1st.
Low to Miller. So that's the second time that Miller has walked. That's the 4th walk given up by Jason Grimsley. Runners at the corners, 1 out, and the batter Lou Thornton. Darrell Knowles, the pitching coach, and I would imagine Don Carmen will get back up. I guess with all the horror movies that have come out lately, the name Jason, the connotation a little bit different than it used to be before Friday the 13th came out. There goes Miller, the high chopper. Nice stop by Barrett, and the shovel to Jordan gets him. On the play, Sasser scores, and Miller goes to second.
Well, Tommy Barrett really hustling on this play. It's a hit-and-run play with a runner at first and a runner at third. He goes over there, gets that really tough hop, smothers it, and then somehow turns around, gets the throw over to first base for the out. But the Mets do score. Good play right there.
Fine play by Barrett. There are 2 outs now. Miller at second. Jeffries the batter. Gregg walked and scored the first run of the game on the Fernandez double in the 3rd. Fouls it off. I mean, you'd have to feel funny when you go up and meet a guy named Freddy Krueger. You got Jason of Friday the 13th. Freddy Krueger of the house on Elm Street. You never had that problem back in the 30s, Ralph.
Yeah, Jason was a very formal type name.
Yeah, for instance, you never ran into a guy named Frankenstein on the street, right?
Not to my knowledge.
Dracula. You never knew anybody named Dracula.
No.
See, See, so horror movies today take on a different connotation than they did back when we were growing up. Just a thought, that's all. 0-2 to Jeffries. A weird thought, but just a thought.
It's that time of year, folks.
And 2 to Jeffries. Miller at second, 2 outs, 3-0 Mets. Grounded sharply off the glove of Grimsley. I believe he got his glove up there. The carom went to Thon at short, and Jeffries is out 1-6-3. The Mets score again, however. Strand a runner. It's 3-0 after 4 in New York, and we're back after this from DHL Courier.
I'm Roland Smith. Tonight after the game, fetuses are found dumped in a landfill. A judge rules on bail for the accused Bensonhurst triggerman and a Rikers uprising. Join us.
Now there's somebody who would appreciate the Jason and Freddy Krueger syndrome. Maybe not, probably hadn't even heard of Frankenstein, Dracula, the old horror movies.
How about Dr. Jekyll?
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
You don't go to a cocktail party, so this is my friend Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Dickie Thon leads it off here in the 5th. Sid Fernandez has a no-hitter going. Can we talk about that yet?
I guess you can. We'll get some calls.
Thon takes a fastball outside. I wonder how that ever started.
I guess just like all those old superstitions that came around, and people actually believed that you could influence the pitching or the result of the ball game by talking about it in a broadcast booth. But the main thing about that, Tim, is that with television and radio, that it adds excitement for the viewers or listeners because they're going to stick around.
Of course, you have to report it. 2 balls, no strikes to Dickie Thon. Struck out the first time up, and he fouls this one back, 2-1.
I think it still exists on the bench that you don't bring it up. Paul, you know, if you're working on a no-hitter late in the ball game, the players won't talk to you. They sort of look away when they look at you, you know. And I don't want to jinx him.
Yeah, I guess from a practical standpoint, players don't want to bring it up because you get to think about it too much. Yeah. Outside and high, 3 balls and a strike to Dickie Thon. The only base runner the Phillies have had, Bob Dernier, with the first inning walk.
Thon broke up that no-hitter in the 9th inning, pitched by Tom Browning earlier this year.
Now Dickie walks, so that's the second walk issued by Fernandez. He has struck out 5. And the batter, Charlie Hayes, who came the closest to a hit his last time up.
He came so close, and it would have been a home run as a hit, but it was over the fence. But somehow or other, Carrion got it in the webbing of his glove over the fence and flipped it back, and then had to catch it barehanded.
Keith Miller with another fine play to rob Tom Barrett of a hit in the 4th inning. And the curveball to Charlie Hayes is a strike. Make that the 3rd inning that Miller robbed Tom Barrett of the hit. Another curve is inside. 1-1 to Charlie Hayes, who came to the Phillies along with Dennis Cook and Terry Mulholland in the Steve Bedrosian trade in early June. Sharply to left, base hit. So that's the first hit of the game. Thon stops at second base. The Phillies with runners at first and second, nobody out, and the batter Darren Dalton. So I guess I jinxed Sid, right?
Yeah, fans, send your letters to Tim McCarver.
In care of Shea Stadium, the New York Mets.
Flushing, New York, 11368. Because we jinxed him by talking about the fact he was working on a no-hitter.
You know, not only does it happen in the major leagues, but in Little League ball. I remember when I was 11 years old, Joe Etzberger was my coach, and I had the bats crossed. You know, you remember the old superstition about don't have the bats crossed, don't have one overlapping the other. He went bananas. I'm 11 years old. I couldn't handle it.
So that accounts for everything right there.
Because the bats were crossed. He blamed everything that happened on the field on me. 0-1 to Dalton.
Well, there are many, many ball players that won't step on the foul lines when they're going to their positions.
Sparky Anderson still doesn't. He's never stepped on a foul line taking a pitcher out in his major league managing career. Hard to right. Thornton there, however, and he makes the play. Thon just in a relaxed fashion getting back to second. One away, and Tom Barrett, the batter.
Tommy Barrett.
Some people walking down sidewalks won't step on the cracks. Right?
Or
You remember
walk
that as
under
a
ladders.
kid? Yeah, walk under ladders. Black cats, the whole bit. Well, the black cat here in 1969 with the Cubs, the most famous story of that season.
Cat came out from underneath the stands, walked over in front of the Cubs dugout, looked in, and it appeared that he was looking right at Leo DeRocher, and then went away.
Thornton, after Jeffries went down, makes the play. 2 outs. And we'll see if Grimsley's going to hit. Doesn't appear that Jason will be up there.
Well, of course, it rained here after the ball game yesterday, and the grass is wet, and Jeffries tears up the turf as he tries to get out of the way as Thornton makes an easy play.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
So the batter's going to be Steve Stanachek, batting 167, 1 for 6 on the year. Steve Stanachek, the pinch hitter for Jason Grimsley. Grimsley going 4 innings, giving up 2 earned runs, and the Mets lead it 3-0. Jason walking 4, striking out 1, giving up 4 hits. Nothing New York. 2 on, 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Foul back. 0-1 to Steve Stanachek.
Pittsburgh now leading St. Louis 4-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Chicago 1, Montreal nothing. That game in the bottom of the 5th.
We talked about football earlier, and the Phil Simms and the New York Giants off to the fast start. Steve Stanachek attended the University of Nebraska. Well, that is football country, I'll tell you.
Big Red.
Out in Lincoln. Lake Forest, Illinois. 28 years old. Len Dykstra on deck. Ball and 2 strikes to Steve Stanachek, batting for Jason Grimsley. 3-0 New York here in the 5th inning. The Mets were eliminated officially last night when the Phillies won 2-1. Two balls, 2 strikes to Stanachek. Well, I wonder if the Mets will sign Keith Hernandez. Gary Carter in doubt. The Mets have to make a lot of decisions this winter about their personnel. Will they make any trades to shore up their bullpen, right-handed relievers in particular? Stanachek down on strikes. One guy they won't get rid of, probably, I say that, Sid Fernandez. He has had a fine year, 12-5, trying to win his 13th game. After 4.5, 3-0 New York, and we're back after this from AT&T.
Mona's redecorating.
These are the ones I'm going to buy.
Mother, you can't put faucets like that in your house. Suppose the children see them.
Weeknights at 6 on Channel 9.
Don Carmen in relief of Jason Grimsley. Grimsley went 4 innings, walking 4, striking out 1, giving up 3 runs, 2 of which were earned. Boy, what a bad year for Don Carmen. His numbers are not appealing. And here's Ralph.
Okay. Mr. McCarver, and Carmen's first batter will be Howard Johnson. He turns him around to the right-hand side. Howard has walked and doubled in his 2 appearances. Carmen in his 49th game. He has made 20 game starts this year. He set the Philadelphia record for most home runs allowed by a left-hand pitcher when he gave up 33 in 1987. The old record held by Steve Carlton. Carlton had given up 34, the record for Philadelphia pitchers as a left-hand pitcher. Mets leading 3-0. One of the runs unearned as they scored a run without a base hit in the 4th inning. And Carmen misses for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
In the National League East, the Pirates over the Cardinals 4-1. That game in the top of the 8th. The Cubs win, and they're winning 1-0. And the Cardinals lose. It's all over in the National League East.
Mets are 2.5 games back of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Here's what's happening in the American League. 1-1 Baltimore and Milwaukee now top of the 2nd. And the Blue Jays still over the Tigers 2-0.
Two balls, 1 strike to count to Howard Johnson. And a high fastball, 2-2. Very consistent in his overall year as he tries to check in the swing. It's called a strike by first base umpire Ed Montague, so Carmen strikes out Howard Johnson as he faces his first batter.
Oh, Joe, a couple of Ks last night from the right-hand side. I thought he held up here. I don't think he went, well, from that angle, it looks like he went too far. Good call by Mark Hirschbeck, the first base umpire.
Now Carmen working to Juan Samuel, and he takes the first pitch for ball 1. Juan has struck out and grounded out. He got a run batted in when he grounded out to short in the 3rd. A strike call. It's 1-1. The Mets have won 11 of the 16 games with the Philadelphia Phillies this year, and here at Shea they won 5 of 7. And Samuel swings and misses, 1-2. .218 at Shea and .248 on the road. Another one hit up the middle, cut off by Thon, and the throw to first base for the out. So Carmen has retired his first 2 batters.
Mets fans, this break in the action is a good time for you to break open an ice-cold Budweiser and enjoy that clean, crisp taste. Yes, sir? This Bud's for you.
First baseman Dave Magadan.
That'll bring up Dave Magadan. Dave is 0 for 2 in today's game. It's going to be interesting what the Mets do with Dave Magadan also, and Tim Tuffle.
I think Magadan's situation depends on what the Mets do with Keith Hernandez. Tim Tuffle, a different problem. Magadan and Hernandez, of course, vying to see who's going to play first base. And Dave did a terrific job filling in for Keith when Keith broke his kneecap back in late May against the Dodgers. Didn't return until after the All-Star break.
And the count, 2 balls and 1 strike.
I say a terrific job. He did what he does best, and that's hit for an average.
Batting .286 for the year, but only 4 home runs and 40 runs batted in.
Not going to get a lot of power output from Magadan. You're getting no speed and adequate defense at best. So those are the deficient departments, and I'm sure the Mets will look at those this year. Fernandez will be 36 years old next year. That's not old, but if you're coming off 2 years of injuries, it could be considered old by the Mets.
And this ball hit to the shortstop. Kahn over to make a nice backhand play, and the throw to first gets him. An idea about Magadan's speed shows right there. A 1-2-3 inning, and the score at the end of 5. It's the Mets 3 and the Philadelphia Phillies nothing. Now here's a word from the good old guys. Lenny Dykstra, the lead it off for Philadelphia. We're in the top of the 6th inning. The Mets leading by a score of 3-0. Dykstra is still getting cheered here at Shea Stadium as he was announced as the batter. He has struck out his first 2 times up. Sid Fernandez on the mound for the Mets, and the first pitch a fastball for a ball. Dykstra struck out on a 3-2 fastball his first time up. He went down swinging. His next time up, he worked the count to 3-2, and then was frozen with a curveball. Sid has struck out 6 in this game. He's given up 1 hit, and the fastball fouled away. The base hit, a clean single to left field by Charlie Hayes after Hayes was robbed of a home run on a great catch by Carrion, a circus catch.
Very popular here at Shea Stadium.
And it's understandable. Very aggressive player for the New York Mets. Lifetime batting average of .279 in his years with the Mets. He was here for a little over 4 years. And he pops this one up down the left field line in foul territory. Long way for Miller, and he can't get to it. Ball didn't have a whole lot of hang time. Miller, with his fine speed, almost made the play. Miller, a very aggressive ball player. If he could hit somewhere around 260, 265, he'd be a very valuable ball player.
He's certainly upped his value by being able to play so many positions. He's had several starts in right this year, several in center, several at short, normally a second baseman, and can play third. So he's a very adaptable player if he could hit a little more.
He won't hit with any power as Dykstra fouls off the fastball and keeps the count on 1-2.
No, but he'll run with power.
He can fly. Very aggressive player. So Miller certainly considered as a utility ball player for the New York Mets. His frequent flyer mileage certainly has been high. He's been up and down 4 times last year to Tidewater, twice this year. And the curveball for a ball, 2-2. Mets 3 runs on 4 hits. Philadelphia no runs on 1 hit. Phillies have made 2 errors, and the Mets have 1 earned run. And a ground ball pull foul. So the count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's Barry Lyons, who has had a good year by the standard set for catchers.
You're saying that because he's listening to you, right, Barry?
He agrees with me, doesn't he? He'll go.
I've always been one to think Barry Lyons probably the top catcher in the National League. Huh?
Always said that. Every time I go anywhere, I say that. And it goes to 3-2 on Dykstra. So for the 3rd time, Lenny Dykstra with a full count.
I think probably Barry Lyons is the leading candidate for the most valuable player award to be given the National League this year. You think so, Barry?
The only thing is it's already been voted on.
Yeah, postseason play is not included in the most valuable player voting.
Now the 3-2 pitch, and Dykstra hits a pop-up back of second base. Miller goes back to make the play, and one away.
Tell you what, Barry's the most valuable player from Biloxi, Mississippi in the major leagues, right?
Hands down. I bet they're watching this game on the dish down there right now.
I'll guarantee you that. Right, Barry? You better believe it.
We thought we'd give you a little camera time so they know that you're here. Now the batter is Bob Denier, and he takes a fastball high for a ball. Bob with a walk his first time up at a 3-2 pitch. One of the two men walked by Sid Fernandez in this game. He's also grounded out. Fastball foul back out of play. 1-1.
Milwaukee has just gone ahead of Baltimore in the bottom of the second inning. It's 2-1 now. Milwaukee over the Orioles. Toronto still winning their game 2-0. Entering tonight's play, the Toronto Blue Jays had a squeaky one-game lead over the Orioles with 5 games to play, including tonight's game.
And they close the season with Baltimore with 3 straight games in Toronto. Fastball foul back, so they count 1-2.
Ralph, while we have some time, get well wishes to Al Schwartz. Suffered a heart attack back on September 10th. He's recovering at home. And we hope Al is fine and recovering nicely.
Sid with a curveball. It's grounded to short. Nice Hollywood hop for Keith Miller, and he throws to first for the out. So Denier back to the bench, and Randy is ready. Ready with 2 pop-ups in this ball game. And that's ball 1. Good curveball for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sid Fernandez with a lifetime record of 67 wins, 45 losses. He's 11-5 lifetime against the Phillies. Misses with a fastball. 2-1 the count. Sid has held the opposition to a .204 batting average coming into this game, second in the National League. Second best. Jose De Leon the best. He has held the opposition to 196. Fly ball to left field. Carry on is there. And carry on carries on as the Mets retire Philadelphia in order behind the pitching of Sid Fernandez. A score at the end of 5.5 innings. It's the Mets 3 and Philadelphia nothing. And here's a word from your Cadillac dealers.
Now you can win with the Mets. Each time you use your Mets MasterCard from Manufacturers Hanover Trust, you get another entry to the Mets MasterCard sweepstakes. And each month there's a powerful lineup of great Mets prizes that you can win. So if you've got the card, use it. If you don't, apply now. Hey, who knows more about winning with the Mets than me? The Mets MasterCard from Manufacturers Hanover. To apply, call 1-800-MHT-METS anytime.
Well, in lieu of the fact that our Wall Street maven, Mr. Steve Zabriski, is not here, here's the financial update. And it is brought to you by American Express. We'll show that to you in a moment as we look at the Mets leadoff batter, Mark Carrion. The Dow Jones is up 4.75. The S&P is up 0.12. Gold is down $1.30, and silver is also down 3 cents. And that pitch to Carrion taken for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's a look at Wall Street, brought to you by American Express. Carry-on singled the left field and scored the first run of the ball game after a double by Sid Fernandez, and the fastball fouled away. Carry-on batting against Don Carmen for the first time. Carmen in relief of Jason Grimsley.
The American Express slogan, "Don't leave home without them." That's American Express traveler's checks. I guess for the Mets this year, their slogan should have been, "Don't leave home."
Second best record in the National League.
13 games under 500 on the road. And second to the Giants in the National League. Their home record. And speaking of the National League, it's the Pirates 4, the Cardinals 1 in the 9th. That's in the top of the 9th, by the way, since St. Louis is playing in Pittsburgh. And the Cubs over Montreal 2-0, bottom of the 6th inning.
And for the Mets, Mackey Sasser, the batter, and he pulls a ball foul for strike one. Mackey has flied to center field and reached on a throwing error by the pitcher back in the 4th. After the throwing error, he came in to score. And the Mets took the lead by a score of 3-0. Don Carmen outside with that pitch, 1 ball, 1 strike. Again pulled foul. Good play.
Well, Terry trying to make her salary drive with that play. The right field ball person. So even the ball girls now have bigger gloves, right?
Better defense all the way around. And it's fouled off on the check swing. Count will stay at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Final game here at Shea Stadium tomorrow. Last chance to visit Shea for the 1989 season. It'll be Ron Darling, 14-13, against Ken Howell, who has a record of 11-12. And Sasser goes down swinging. So the first 2 batters struck out by Don Carmen. He has struck out 3 of his first 5. And that'll bring up Sid Fernandez.
Big hand for El Cid, and he deserves it.
A double to drive in a run, a perfect sacrifice to move a runner in the scoring position where the runner scored. And Sid with a strike 1 count. A little wave there. Strike 2. That pitch, a ball, 1 ball, 2 strikes. On that last swing by Sid, the mind was willing, but the body was weak. And goodbye. So Carmen strikes out the side. And then at the end of the 6th inning of play here at Shea Stadium, it's the Mets 3 and the Philadelphia Phillies nothing. And here's a word from DHL Courier.
The FBI calls him Wild Bill, a child pornographer who is still at large. Can you help? Watch Tuesday on Crime Watch tonight.
Following the Channel 9 news.
Well, top of the 7th, and a man whose wife, Ann, has cashed a few of his World Series checks to come in for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver.
No, that's a long time ago, though. that money's history.
It's gone.
Not only history, but I played in 3 World Series, Ralph, 64, 7, and 8, and my total take was about $26,000. Now that's about 1/4 of what the World Series share is for the winning team. Over $100,000 last year for the Los Angeles Dodgers, defeating the Oakland Athletics. Ricky Jordan leads it off here in the 7th. He's 0 for 2. Curve outside. Sid Fernandez has given up 1 hit tonight and 2 hits his last outing. So over the last 15 innings, he's given up 3 hits. Up the middle, Miller throws out Jordan. 1 out here in the 7th. 3-0 New York.
Last year, Sid was #1 in the National League for holding opposing batters to the lowest batting average, 191. And if he continues like he is, like he's going right here in tonight's ball game, he could drop under that 200 mark tonight.
Dickie Thon, the batter. Ball and no strikes, and Fernandez does it with 2 pitches for the most part. Fastball, curveball. Does not have a slider, an occasional changeup, but not often. There's the curve, 1-1 to Thon.
But those 2 pitches are both good pitches.
I'll say.
Big difference on his curveball over his fastball, the difference in speed.
There was a changeup, 2 balls and a strike to Thon.
Sid's about 20 miles an hour slower with that curveball than he is with his fastball.
Two and two. There's some folks catching the game, it appears. Or if they are, he's saying, hey, hey, we're on. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, he's got the family there. I guess it's his family. Took him a while for that to register, didn't it?
It certainly did. Maybe the picture isn't that good.
He's probably saying, that guy looks like me. Wait a minute, it is me. Tis I. All right. 7 strikeouts now for Fernandez. He's retired 8 in a row. Earlier in the game, he had retired 11 in a row.
He's now tied for second in strikeouts in the National League with Tim Belcher, 189.
High to Charlie Hayes. Hayes not only with the first hit, but his first time up, he had a line drive over the head of Mark Carrion. It was actually over the fence. Carrion jumped, caught it in the webbing, flipped it back into the field of play, and finished the catch barehanded style. 2 balls and no strikes to Charlie Hayes. Final in Pittsburgh. The Cardinals' magic number is now 1, Ralphie.
4-1. Pittsburgh over the Cardinals. And if the Cubs win, it's all over in the National League East. Cubs are leading by a score of 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, the Expos have plated at 1 run and are still batting in the bottom of the 6th. 2-1 to Hayes, 2 outs, nobody on, 3-0 here at Shea. Good curveball, 2-2 to Charlie Hayes. Perfect night for ice cream. The wind chill factor is supposed to be in the 20s tomorrow, we hear.
Don't say that.
My saying it has nothing to do with it. Okay, I won't say it.
Just ruined my night.
If I don't say it, it won't happen. Here she is shivering, eating ice cream.
Well, if you had not mentioned that Sid Fernandez was pitching a no-hitter, there'd be a no-hitter going right now. But you said he was pitching a no-hitter, and they got a base hit. So what you say is very important, and you say it's going to be cold tomorrow.
So if all things go according to Hoyle, as Hayes lays off the curveball, then it should be warm if I said it, because the reverse happened.
The catcher,
Hayes with a walk, his second time on base. Fernandez has now walked 3, striking out 7. Darren Dalton, the batter. The wind chill factor, here we are. Gosh, it was as recent as last Friday when it was very, very humid. And now we're talking about wind chill factor. Fouled away. 0-1 to Dalton. I like the middle one myself. What do you think?
Boy.
Well, it's a 2-team race in the American League East and the National League East. Not much of one in the National League East. Thornton makes the catch. Oh, brother, we have seen 3 brilliant plays tonight. The one by Carrion earlier, then Keith Miller at short, and now Lou Thornton. Spectacular play by Thornton, who had stumbled. Still 3-0 Mets after 6.5, and we're back after this from your Tri-Honda dealers.
Time is running out for you to join in the fun in the Florida Sun. Ultimate Week, the Mets Adult Baseball Fantasy Camp, where you can play with and against your Mets heroes, is filling up fast. And the deadline for you to sign up is October 15th. So don't wait. Call 800-525-METS and sign up now for the only remaining week, January 28th through February 4th. It's your chance to live the dream, the ultimate baseball experience. Ultimate Week, 800-525-METS.
Well, fans, for those of you who do not have Mets season tickets and would like to purchase some for the 1990 season, here's what you need to do. Just send us your name, address, day and evening phone numbers, and your ticket information request to Mets Sales Department, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York, 11368. Sometime in early 1990, you will receive a packet containing information on available season ticket plans, prices, and an appointment to come to Shea to view the available locations.
And the fans singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and they have rooted for the Mets all season long. The Mets will draw close to 3 million people again. They went over 3 million for the first time in '87, then again last year, and this year it'll be about 295. I'd say about 15,000 here tonight, understandably, with the Mets out of it. Keith Miller is 1 for 1. He has walked twice, and he lets go of the bat. I guess that's another sign of the cold weather here, Ralph.
It has to be, because your hands get very dry. That ball going into the stands, and Miller going over, and he wants to know if he can get the bat back. And they hand it back, but they ought to take another one in there.
No, he will. Yeah. The bat boy's got one. Joey's got one right there, and he's going to go over and pacify the throngs.
So now everybody's happy. No one hurt, everybody happy.
The way it should be. 1-1 to Miller.
It was ironic that when Carrion lost his bat, he didn't want it back.
Yeah, that's right.
And then got another bat out of the bat rack and got a base hit.
2 balls and a strike to Miller. 2-2. Carmen in 2 innings has struck out 4. Phillies trailing 3-0. A one-hitter by Sid Fernandez.
Miller wanted his back. He had an infield hit and 2 walks with that bat.
I don't know if I'd want a bat back if I walked twice with it.
Maybe he likes it because it doesn't swing too much.
Three and 2 to Keith Miller. I think Miller went too far. Yep, he tried to decoy Ed Montague, but clearly he went too far. That's 5 strikeouts by Don Carmen.
And on the Nissan scoreboard, 2-2 Chicago and Montreal in the bottom of the 6th inning. Pittsburgh defeated St. Louis, and all St. Louis can do is hope that Chicago loses. If Chicago wins, they're through.
So the Cardinals, by losing, clinch a tie. That's the best they can do. If they win the rest of their games, and the Cubs lose all 5 of theirs, including tonight's game. 0-1 to Lou Thornton, 1 out, 3-0 here at Shea. One to Thornton. drive, base hit to right field. So Lou Thornton lines one to right field off a tough breaking ball from Carmen. That's the first Mets hit off Don Carmen. And that'll bring up Greg Jeffries.
He hit this pitch like he knew what was coming. Watch him stay in here on this curveball. I mean, he just bores right into it. Boy, he really put a move on that one. So Carmen, after retiring his first 7 batters, 5 of them on strikeouts, gives up his first hit as Thornton does a job on the curve.
Greg Jeffries now the batter. Greg looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. The Mets with single runs in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Lead 3-0. 5 hits for New York, only 1 for the Phillies. Greg's still single, obviously. That's a bad place to put a proposal in the upper deck. Those folks in the upper deck asking Greg, I say those. Just 1. 0-2 to Jeffries. 1-2. Greg Jeffries still alive. A ball and 2 strikes to Greg. Lou Thornton at first base. 3-0 New York here in the bottom of the 7th inning. The last week of the season for these 2 teams. There will be 4 teams that are alive come next Tuesday. When the playoffs start. And then October 14th, representing their respective leagues, either Oakland, Toronto, or Baltimore will be facing either Chicago, St. Louis, San Francisco, or you should say, really, San Diego and Houston. They can still tie it. Highly unlikely, however. Thornton's going to go all the way to 3rd. And he does. Hustling by Lou Thornton on the infield out by Greg Jeffries. And he's at 3rd with 2 outs.
Well, again, it's a young ball player trying to make it in the major leagues, and the hustle is really noticeable. And he makes 3rd base on the out to shortstop easily. He has done a fine job for the Mets since being brought up.
Thornton, an original signee with the Mets. Then he went over to Toronto. And now he's back with New York. So Thornton at 3rd base, 2 outs, 3-0 New York, and Howard Johnson coming up. Hojo 1 for 2, a double in the 3rd inning. He has also walked and struck out. I said Houston. Obviously, Houston not in it, as San Diego is 5 back. They're still in it. Their magic number is 1. They can tie. Houston 8 games back. Todd Froworth now up and throwing for the Phils. San Diego Padres, probably the hottest team in baseball for the last month.
Just had too much to overcome. And also the Giants have played very well the last month too. If the Giants had followed it at all, San Diego would have taken them over. At one point they had won 20 of their 25 ball games.
Yeah, and then 24 of 30. Ball and 2 strikes to Johnson. Juan Samuel on deck. High, ball 2. 2-2 to Howard Johnson. 3-0 New York on top here in the bottom of the 7th. Sid Fernandez working on a one-hitter. He has walked 3, striking out 7. Foul back right below us. Still 2-2. Broken bat, left center. Dykstra makes the play. Thought for a moment that that ball would drop, but Len Dykstra closed the gap in a hurry to make the catch. Still 3-0 after 7 for the Mets. And we'll be back after this from AT&T.
I'm Roland Smith. After the game, did prison officials respond improperly at the Rikers uprising? Fetuses are found in a landfill. Pat reviews Johnny Handsome tonight after the game.
Top of the 8th inning, Sid Fernandez working on another masterpiece. He has pitched a one-hitter through 7 and leads 3-0. His last outing in St. Louis, that was last Thursday night. He started, pitched a complete game, giving up 2 hits to the Cardinals and 1 earned run, walking no one and striking out 13. His numbers for his last 16 innings have been very impressive. Here's Tom Barrett. Tom 0 for 2 on the evening, takes ball 1. Strike 1. 1-1 to Tom Barrett. Steve Jeltz, the on-deck batter. He will pinch hit for Don Carmen. Strike 2, a ball and 2 strikes to Barrett.
Sid with 90 pitches, 39 balls, 51 strikes, 7 Ks through his 7 innings of work.
Barrett stays alive, fouling off the breaking ball. Still a ball and 2 strikes to Tom Barrett. The Mets scoring in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, lead 3-0. Had a little picket fence going in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Short fence.
Short but effective. Keeps the neighbors out. Barrett down on strike. Strikeout number 8 for Sid Fernandez.
Ladies and gentlemen, batting
So
for
Sid now 2nd in the National League in strikeouts, but this strikeout is 8th in the ball game. He now has 190 for the year, 6 back of Jose De Leon.
$17,385 paid tonight. $18,090 in the house. Jeltz fouls it off and out of play. 0-1 to Steve Jeltz.
Back on June the 8th, Jeltz hit 2 home runs in 1 ball game. He had gone 1,357 at bats with no home runs, and after that span of not having a home run, he hit 3 in 19 at bats. You recall that was a game that Pittsburgh scored 10 runs in the 1st inning, and the Phillies won it 15-11.
Another one fouled away. The Jim Rooker walk will be coming up next week, right?
Can't wait to see it. When the Pirates scored 10 in the 1st, he said, "I'll walk home if the Pirates don't win this ball game." They were in Philadelphia. Well, they lost it. So he has planned a charity walk that will start after the season from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that was the game in which Steve Jeltz hit the 2 home runs. One is a left-hander, the other is a right-hander.
So blame it on Steve Jeltz. Rooker's going to wear out a few pair of shoes. Tim Rooker, a former Major League pitcher and a good one, now broadcasting for the Pirates.
Jeltz down on strikes. That's strikeout number 9 for El Cid.
Well, he gets him with a curveball this time. Dropping it right on there, and now Sid with a chance to strike out 10. He's done it 3 times this year, 10 or more in a ball game. In his Major League career, he's done it 21 times.
With that 17,385 in attendance, the Mets have now drawn 2,900,044. As Len Dykstra hits one deep to right, Thornton back. He actually turned the wrong way, but Dykstra has a double. That's that low fastball that's much more or much less effective than the high fastball. So Dykstra with a second hit of the game for the Phillies.
Well, Lenny hits it hard, and he's hit 34 home runs in his 5 years in the major leagues, and this one is a 2-base hit. Thornton had a little trouble going back in the ball. It is gusty out here and tough.
Dykstra at second. He is the second Philly to reach second. Dickie Thon walked and reached second on Charlie Hayes' single back in the 5th inning. Bob Dernier 0 for 2 with a walk. Ball 1. Kevin Elster in the ball game for Keith Miller. Miller with a fine ball game. 1 for 2 as a hitter with a couple of walks and some good defensive plays at shortstop. Popped up in the infield. Fernandez should be out of the inning, as Miller had moved to second base, replacing Greg Jeffries. So Miller's still in the ball game. It's still 3-0. El Cid and the Phillies and the Mets after 7.5. And we're back after this from American Express. Steve Jeltz stays in the ball game. He'll play center field, and Jeff Parrott will come into the game. Lenny Dykstra out, so Parrott batting in the number 1 hole.
And Parrott with a record of 12-6. He has 6 saves, an earned run average of 2.97. He's walked 44, struck out 93, given up 86 hits in 103 innings. This is his 71st game of the year. And he is now tied for 3rd in appearances for pitchers in the National League. Mitch Williams was 73 games, and Rob Dibble was 72. Dibble was suspended the other day.
Suspended for the rest of the season by the Cincinnati Reds. What an unsettling year for Rob Dibble. He was suspended by National League President Bill White for 4 games for throwing his bat. He instigated a fight here at Shea Stadium, a fight in which Juan Samuel played a major part. Samuel swings and misses at the slider, 0-1, and now the suspension for unspecified reasons. They did not elaborate on the news report I read. 0-2 to Samuel.
I believe it had something to do with not taking a sign. He was ordered to bunt and didn't bunt, or something along that line. Insubordination.
Samuel down on strikes. First strikeout for Jeff Parrott, and the batter, Dave Magadan.
First baseman Dave Magadan.
And the Nissan American League scoreboard on it. Boston 8, the Yankees 4. Boston got 8 in the first inning. That game at the top of the 6th. Toronto 3, Detroit 1, top of the 8th. Milwaukee 2, Baltimore 1, bottom of the 4th. Chicago 1, Minnesota nothing, top of the 4th. Texas and Oakland, Cleveland and Seattle, and Kansas City and California later.
A strike to Magadan. Dave 0 for 3 on the evening. Ground ball right side. Barrett to Jordan. 2 outs here in the 8th. 3-0 Mets. Sid Fernandez has struck out 9. He has walked 3. He has given up only 2 hits. So if he completes this game, he will have back-to-back 2 hitters if he completes the game and the Phillies don't get a hit in the 9th.
It would be his 5th career 2-hitter.
Mark Carrion has played a fine game offensively and defensively, robbing Charlie Hayes of a home run. That was back in the 2nd inning. 0-1 to Carrion. 1-1. Not exactly Hawaiian weather here tonight.
He's bundled up pretty good.
Sid will be heading back to Honolulu Sunday night after the game in Pittsburgh. Carrion went too far, says Ed Montague, the first base umpire. A ball and 2 strikes to Mark.
He really looked like he held up on this one. Starts. The bat's pretty far back. I thought he held up.
Dalton, a good play, and Montague says he did not go too far. 2-2 to Carrion. Ball 3. 3-2 to Mark Carrion. You're watching Mets Baseball 89 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Line to right, base hit for Carrion. That's the first hit off Jeff Parrott, and that'll bring up Mackie Sasser. Carrion at first, 2 outs. So Mark, a good night, 2 for 4, and a nice play in left field.
Goes right after that pitch on the outside part of the plate, serves it into right field, and Denier plays it on the hop. 6th hit for the Mets in this game.
Mackie Sasser 0 for 3 on the night. He did get on an error by Jason Grimsley, the starting pitcher, and he scored a run in the 4th inning. 3-0 New York. Balls, 2 strikes to Sasser. Lined up the middle. The ball hit the edge of the outfield grass and really jumped up. Like Ralph Kiner just hit his 8-iron.
Well, Sasser continues to hit the ball well. He's had an outstanding year. Look at that ball come up.
Like he had the right English on that 8-iron there, Ralphie.
Put that backswing on it and stopped it right there. Well, Sid gets a big ovation as he comes to the plate here. He's had a double, the drive and a run, and he has also sacrificed perfectly and has struck out.
No balls, 1 strike to Sid Fernandez. 2 on, 2 out. Fernandez with a 3-0 lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Cardinals have lost their game, so the Cubs' magic number is 1. And on cue, Ralph, what just happened? Is that a 3 up there for the Cubs?
It looks like it is. Looks like the Cubs got a run in the top.
Playing in Montreal, the Cubs leading 3-2 in the 8th inning. The slider is low, 1-2.
And here it is. It's the Cubs 3, the Montreal Expos 2, top of the 8th. And if the Cubs win that ball game, it's champagne time.
We understand an error by Hubie Brooks allowed a Cubs run to score. 2-2 to Fernandez.
Hey, that's one thing I don't miss, Tim, and I know you don't either. Those celebrations in the clubhouse with that champagne in your eyes.
I sure missed it as a player, I'll tell you that. Eyes heal.
Fast.
3-0 New York. They'll be not celebrating this year, but they lead 3-0 after 8, and we'll be back after this from the 9X Yellow Pages.
I'm waiting for my next 2 guests to arrive, Lisa Bonet and from Falcon Crest, Susan Sullivan. They're worth the wait on the next Arsenio Hall Show.
Tonight at midnight on Channel 9.
Well, Mets memories are brought to you by the Wiz. September 17th, 1986, top of the ninth, 2 out, 2 on. Mets leading 4-2 over the Cubs. Wally Backman fielded Chico Walker's grounder and tossed it to Keith Hernandez for the last out. The Mets clinched the Eastern Division that night and went on to win the playoffs and the World Series. And remember, nobody beats the Wiz.
Randy Reddy leading it off here in the 9th inning. 3-0 New York, and Reddy takes a fastball. A nice visit from Michael and Mary Barbara Alexander, the president of WWOR. This one fouled out of play, 0-2 to Reddy. Mary Barbara, you're handing me this card saying you will be featured in Broadway Baby. Outstanding. I've never heard you sing either. Looking forward to it.
Put it on right now.
Essentially Cole. Is that Nat King Cole or Natalie Cole? Cole Porter. Aha. Keith Miller makes the play. 1 out here in the 9th inning. Ricky Jordan coming up. Sid Fernandez working on his 2nd complete game back-to-back. And not only that, but if he wins this game, it'll be his first back-to-back wins all season long. 13 no decisions interspersed in those wins and losses. Ricky Jordan 0 for 3 on the night. Line to left, but there's carry on. 2 outs. From October 12th or October 5th to October 12th. Mary Barbara Alexander will be at Broadway Baby. All right. That'll be postseason baseball time too, right? By the 12th, we'll probably know who's going to play in the World Series. The 2 teams representing the American and National League. Series starting October 14th. Dickie Thon, the last chance for the Phillies. He has struck out twice and walked. Change, grounded left side, base hit. The 3rd hit of the night for the Phillies. Dickie Thon at first with 2 outs, and Charlie Hayes will be the batter.
Third baseman Charlie Hayes.
And we might add that, Tim, you'll be doing the World Series.
Yep. Be doing it with Al Michaels and Jim Palmer this year on ABC. Line drive hit well to center, but Samuel is back and puts it away, and that's the end of the ball game. Sid Fernandez, another brilliant performance, a 3-hitter after a complete game 2-hitter against the Cardinals. So over the last 18 innings, Sid Fernandez has given up 1 earned run and 5 hits. He won his 12th game in St. Louis and his 13th game here tonight. Sid Fernandez with 9 strikeouts, and he walked 3 while giving up only 3 hits to the Phillies. The Mets win it 3-0. Ralph and I will be back with some further words after this from R.C. Cola.